Hello everybody and welcome back to IMO Reviews and welcome to my football themed side of the new studio. It's a shame that we have to start on such a sour note because after Liverpool's 2-0 defeat to Everton last night and frankly just the general run of performances that we are in and the news that Klopp is leaving, we have to talk about Liverpool. This past month or so has been absolutely jarring to me as a fan. We have gone from potentially winning a quadruple and completely overachieving considering we had a massive overhaul of the squad at the start of the season and many of these players were unproven, to now performing like that team we all feared we might actually be when we signed these unproven players. I genuinely can't put my finger on what exactly it is, but the performances of late are almost like we've gone back in time. I feel like I'm watching last season again, where we just decided to pack it in. To a man, it's like they have said, should we just fuck this off? And it is ever since that epic defeat to Manchester United in the FA Cup that the wheels have just well and truly come off. They didn't just knock us out the cup, they knocked the confidence out of us, it seems. When in truth, we really should have just said, look, it happens. Wipe it away, start again next week. But mentally, we just haven't. And we've let the rot set in now. I'll be dead honest with you, I didn't watch the game against Everton last night because I saw it coming. I don't mean to sound like the prophet or the messiah here. In fact, I wasn't entirely on the money. I was actually predicting a 1-1 draw. I absolutely knew Everton would score first. I knew that would make Goodison Park erupt. It would make it hell for us. But somehow, through the sheer fact of them parking the bus and us throwing the kitchen sink at them, we might get one back to save a draw. Nope. Apparently, even in my pessimism, I was still being too optimistic. And it keeps happening each week. Each new performance is suddenly a brand new low. I've gone from being really in love with this squad and loving these players to now genuinely questioning who is good enough to stay here. And before I continue, full credit to Everton. They absolutely deserved to take the points last night. Their backs are up against it as well. There's pressure on them. They didn't fold. We did. I don't think the win against Fulham was very convincing, to be brutally honest with you either. I think that was absolutely a plaster over an axe wound. I can only assume that the pressure has gotten to them. I think maybe it is genuinely dawning on them that this is a huge task to fulfill to give our greatest manager the send-off he deserves. And in that, I think there is some worry and confusion as to, well, who is the new manager? Is the new manager going to be good enough? Are we going to be in the new manager's plans? What exactly are the players themselves playing for? I have also been questioning Jurgen Klopp a little bit recently. His tactics are just a matter of doing the exact same thing over and over again and expecting something different. And instead, other teams are smart enough to look at what Manchester United did to us and go, oh, okay, so every time we just sit back, soak them up and counter with two forwards, we can get something out of Liverpool. And it's proving to work. Every single team we're playing against is getting at least one goal against us. He is making the same selections in the team sheet that don't make any sense to me whatsoever. There are moments in Curtis Jones's career where I've looked at him and gone, okay, decent centre mid. But they are moments. In more recent memory, I have to admit, I've seen more moments where I've gone, Jesus Christ, son, what the hell was that? His finishing is appalling. His general sense of awareness on the pitch is pretty damn bad. He has little to no effect on the attacking play. It is very much being a middleman busybody making sideways passes. When he does get involved, he completely fluffs his lines. Did Harvey Elliott assault one of Klopp's family members or something? What does this kid have to do to start? Sure, he's unpolished and there's lots of rough edges around Harvey Elliott, but you can't deny the kid puts in a shift. And sometimes it does only take that one player to roll up his sleeves to change the mentality of the team to do the same. But nope. Harvey Elliott still is just getting the last 10-15 minutes of a match every time. Dominic Szoboszlai. He started like a whirlwind and was incredible, making these bursting runs into the box, but I don't know what's happened to him either. Some of his passing is drunk. It's like simple 5-yard passes. And he's just not looking. It's simple as like his head is always down. He is looking at the ball, never looking at who's around him. It's like he keeps making the wrong decision at the wrong time. He passes when he should run and he runs when he should pass. He's all just completely out of sync at the moment. And for me, he has to be on the bench. He just can't be playing at the moment, especially not in this form. Mo Salah has fallen off a cliff and then some. He looks genuinely disinterested. I do think his mind and heart is possibly on the exit door, as much as that hurts to say. But if this is how how he's going to play, maybe it is the best thing for us to cash in on him while we can. We're going to get a new manager in the new season. Maybe it is best to get 180 million out of Salah and then give that to the new manager to do what he wants to do with it. Although there's issues with that as well. It's ever since he returned from AFCON with that injury. Maybe we rushed him back. Maybe he still shouldn't be playing. But again, he can't be starting. Not in this form. I've sort of had enough with Darwin Núñez now. I can't deny I did like him, and there's still a small part of me that wants him to be a success. He's undeniably fun. There's no changing that whatsoever. But actually, now that it's coming to crunch time, he's not someone we can rely upon. We just can't. He is not going to score the goals we need. In fact, he's going to get the chances, and he's going to miss them. He is as profligate and wasteful as Timo Werner was for Chelsea. He is extremely frustrating. And I get that we've paid a lot of money for him. I get that he's very young. I get that there is absolutely potential in that kid there. I'm not entirely convinced that he has to go. I think that's a bit of a shambles, to be honest. I just don't think he can be the guy. I think he's the backup to the guy. I think we need to go and get the guy. Because I don't think it's Diogo Jota either. His legs are made out of twigs. It's ridiculous how often Diogo Jota is injured. We need a proper goal-scoring, 20 goals a season striker, and Darwin Núñez needs to be the guy who comes in off the bench 70th minute when the game's already wrapped up and might be able to get you one more. Or he plays in the cup games against the lower opposition. He just can't be the main man. We'll get nowhere with that. And that does pain me to say, but my eyes see what my eyes see. I think if he was going to be that guy, we'd be seeing it by now. In fact, he seems to be declining, if anything. He's too much of a confidence player, and if that confidence is not there, you'll get nothing out of him. I'm going to get a lot of stick for this one because I know he's a bit of a fan favourite with Liverpool, but I've got issues with Luis Diaz as well. Yes, he works hard. Yes, he runs quickly, and he really puts it up the defenders with his samba and his flair, but his end product is non-existent. I am sick and tired of screaming at my television for Luis Diaz to pass, but instead he keeps the ball and takes on another man with his terrible first touch, always losing the ball, which is why his runs keep going, only for him to run into a crowd, blast it into Rosed. He really does strike me as a selfish player, and even all of this talk from his dad, who's basically saying that we're flirting with Barcelona or we want Barcelona to come take you. Go. If that's your attitude towards Liverpool, if we really are just a stepping stone for you, I personally don't think we're losing that much. I'm fine with Gakpo being on that left-hand side. I know a lot of people have issues with Gakpo, but actually I think he's quite a good technical player in the half space, especially when he runs into crowds. He does make some good movement, short passes. He's a good player to connect the triangles with. And he does often get onto the end of those little tap-ins that Darwin Núñez usually skies. I've even got a bit of a bone to pick with Virgil van Dijk lately. He's been saying a lot in the media, and frankly, I'm starting to wish he would just shush, stop talking. You're making things way worse. And it means that the season has just sort of petered out now. It means that we're just waiting for the final day where we say goodbye to Klopp, which is going to be awful, especially considering the note on which it's finished. It kind of feels like we need him to stay more now than ever. And I am now genuinely worried about the future of Liverpool Football Club. That sound you hear in the distance is the sound of the nails about to be put in the coffin. Because I think there could be a mass exodus from this squad. I think some of them have to go out of sheer lack of quality. I think another half of them already have their eye on the door. And I think collectively as a fan base, we are all so supremely underwhelmed and disappointed by the news that it's going to be Arne Slot who replaces Jurgen Klopp. Of course, it hasn't been confirmed. I'm genuinely praying it isn't him. I don't want him to be the manager of the club because I don't believe that success in the Dutch league really accounts for anything, not at Premier League level. I'm going to piss a lot of Dutch fans off here, but their Eredivisie doesn't even hold a light to the Serie A. And what worries me is that Arne Slot hasn't even really been that successful in the Dutch league. Every time there's been someone better than him there, he hasn't won. He's only managed to succeed when other teams have faltered. And now you're asking him to take a gargantuan step up and compete with the likes of Pep Guardiola? I think Arne Slot reeks of an 8th place finish and a Europa League run. And when it comes to Liverpool Football Club, I mean, I'm sure this applies to most football clubs, but the manager has to have something about them, an it factor, where there is a genuine electric connection with the fans. That is something that Jurgen Klopp has had in spades. And I genuinely think that's a huge factor as to a lot of the success that he's brought, because we've become united on this one goal of being an amazing football club. I think when you bring in an Arne Slot, I think you're just setting the bar extremely low. And I think that you're causing separation in the fan base. I'm already seeing it in the comments section. You've got some people who are having to go at other people because they're not giving him a chance. Then you've got some people moaning at other people saying, no, you don't watch the Dutch league, you don't know ball. But the vast majority seem to think the same as me. Not good enough. Nowhere near good enough. I'd rather take Iriola from Bournemouth. At least I've seen him compete in this league. At least I've seen the guy has a bit of charm about him. I don't get any of that from Arne Slot. I don't think anybody does. I think we're all collectively like burying our heads in the sand and hoping that the board see how miserable the fans have responded to this choice and maybe change their minds. Because I think even if statistically he might be the right guy, if you are not going to get the fan base behind you, you might as well not appoint him. It's just going to cause misery. And I think that's why the fans were so desperate for an Alonso, because it's going to hurt losing Jurgen Klopp. Xabi already has that connection with us. We already love him. He feels like that nice, warm, comforting hug that we need right now. And he even offers something quite exciting and a little bit different for the future. I think most of us do want something different, not the same as Klopp. Arne Slot, as far as I can see, he's just a retro Klopp when we were playing the 4-2-3-1 with Coutinho as the 10. It's just that. So it's just us from 4 years ago. I don't want us from 4 years ago. I want new, I want different, I want something exciting to look forward to. I want a journey. Arne Slot doesn't feel like a journey. He feels like a yes man who's probably going to be there for about a year if he's lucky. And then we're going to do this all again and try and find maybe another manager and actually get it right this time. Which brings me to my final point, and that is Michael Edwards. Now, a lot of people love Michael Edwards, and I don't hate Michael Edwards, no, not for a long shot. But my issue with Michael Edwards is that I don't personally believe that you should ever go back for someone who's already left. And from what I understand, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Michael Edwards originally left the club because he fell out with Jurgen Klopp about who has control of what. Jurgen Klopp wanted to have more of a say on the transfers instead of just being told by Michael Edwards, we're getting this guy, and Jurgen being a lot like the fans, scratching his head and going, why? Oh, because the numbers say he does this, this, and this. From what I understand, Jurgen Klopp getting the control of the transfers is exactly why Michael Edwards moved on. And the reason he's come back now, I assume, is because he too is going to have control of the transfers again, which means we're going to be much more data-driven, rather than just fluking 80 million on someone like Darwin Núñez. And maybe on that aspect, it's for the better. But the issue I have is that I think Michael Edwards is applying that data-driven aspect to the manager search as well, and I don't think he is contemplating this idea of that connection with the fan base at all. It's such a disconnected choice. In fact, most of the names on the shortlist, it's so disconnected. Like Jose Mourinho, for God's sakes. Gary O'Neill? Really? And that also concerns me, that we're just sort of beholden to this guy and his laptop who looks at numbers and says, there you go. In that aspect, I kind of hate it, because you can pick and choose whatever stats you want to paint the picture you want to paint. In fact, I saw a statistic the other day that again really worries me about Arne Slot. I wonder if Michael Edwards has seen this statistic, because it's not a good one. There's only one team in Europe who has turned around losing positions more than Liverpool this year. It's Feyenoord, Arne Slot's team. Great. So what that tells me is that we're going to have to get used to going 1-0 down all the time to try and turn it around. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't want that. I'd rather we could actually just stay solid. It's time for a change. I don't want a soft reboot. I don't want a yes man who's going to be like Klopp 2.0. The fact that everyone's already making memes about Hank Schrader supporting Liverpool and stuff like that, I just think that this is awful. This is such a bad appointment. It's tone deaf is what it is. I'm really, really, really hoping it isn't Arne Slot. I think it is. It sounds like it's going to be him. It really does sound like it's sort of all rushing to a finalisation now. But I can only hope that maybe the fans kick up enough of a stink that maybe the board reconsider. I don't think this is the guy or the approach to take this club forward. And I think all of this uncertainty, I think all of this media rumour mill is just again adding to that pressure and pile onto Liverpool. And it's just sunk the ship. It's now very defeatist and sad and depressed over on Merseyside. Well, at least not for the blue half after last night. And that's such a bizarre feeling, because a month ago, I genuinely had a gut feeling that we were going to do something special this year. And it just saddens me to know that this is what the lasting memory of Jurgen Klopp's sadly going to be. And that's what I was worried about. Our rivals are going to hold that against us all the time, and over time, Jurgen Klopp's going to fall right down on the pecking order as to how important he actually was, when everybody knows that's not actually true. Again, statistics can paint whatever picture you want them to. But that'll do for today. Take care. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button. And of course, hit that comment section. What do you think about it? Am I completely overreacting? Let me know. Try and cheer me up if you can. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.